Yeah, so it's an absolute stormy day, thunder, lightning, pissing down the lot, but we are still dedicated to getting a video out this weekend. I know it's not on the Focus, but obviously if everything's on the Focus I don't open up to other followers. So if you are new here and you're watching the BMW content, or you're watching the Scirocco content, or you do love the Focus, please subscribe. Comment when you do subscribe, because then I can reply and get to engage with some of you new subscribers, which would be good to talk to some of you and just have a general chat and get to know who's subscribing and that. So yeah, please drop a comment when you have subscribed and I will drop you a comment back and we'll have a little chat about stuff. But yeah, so we're going to crack on with the video now. Hope you enjoy it. Hope it's good for you BMW M4 owners, or any BMW actually. I think any M car actually will be pretty much the same as this, so it will come in handy for you guys. So yeah, enjoy. Right, so coming on to the kit we're using. So we've got the Team Schirmer. I'm not a BMW person, so I do apologise if I'm saying that wrong to this company, but Team Schirmer, that looks like to me, or Schirmer. So we're using their rails. We've got the Recaro, no, that's the seat mount. So we've got the Team Schirmer seat mount, the Recaro rails, custom made mounting plates for obviously to mount all this too. We've got the slider, because obviously Levi wanted to go for the slider. He paid quite a lot of money for this kit. That's why he thought it was going to be a bolting kit, but these plates, this one was fine, like we didn't have to drill anything in this one. It's just that smaller one at the back of this rail we had to drill a hole so it lined up and we could bolt it all down safely. So it's all safe, secure in the passenger seat. Yeah, so it's all safe in the passenger seat. We have tested it, it's perfect. Only thing is the airbag. Obviously when you disconnect the box under the seat, you got to get the airbag light sorted, because that will come on, and the seatbelt restraint, but I think we've just plugged that in the wrong one, so we're going to just try and plug it into the right thing, because we have put the seatbelt on there, because we've got the seatbelt rails as well. So yeah, the seatbelt rails are over there, so that's so you can mount your original seat belts too. We've got all the bolts, washers and all that good stuff, nuts and bolts. We're going to start building this up in the video now, and then we'll show you the seat when we get to doing it, because obviously the weather's bad and I don't really want to be pulling the seats out in the rain, because he's paid a lot of money for these seats. Everything for the BMW M4 seems to be expensive, and yeah, so we'll crack on, boys, and we'll get this seat rails together, and hopefully it's inspiration and helpful to any of you boys out there with an M4 who are trying to put a bucket seat in your car. I'd also like to mention I've now got a GoPro, so that's what we are recording on in this video now. So I've got a GoPro, it's going to be very handy for the Focus, because a lot of you have not seen the Focus in action yet. So we're mounting the GoPro to the roof and mounting my phone inside the car, so we'll be having two bits of content being recorded at the same time when I take it out for a nice hard drive for you guys to see how it goes. And also when we go around Europe in a week and a half time now, and get on the Nürburgring and all that, we'll have the GoPro set up, and we'll get some good content. Hopefully we don't stack it on the Nürburgring, but yeah. Levi's just bought the cup of teas in, well, coffee for him, tea for me. Every time we work we need a cup of tea and a coffee, but yeah, we got that settled now, and now we're going to crack on, build these rails. Woohoo! And Levi's here, he's happy. What do you reckon of the seat we've already installed, lad?
Not bad until we turn the fucking airbag light off.
Yeah, so as mentioned, the airbag light is on, but he's going to get it coded out, or I've got resistors, so we're going to try that probably as well, because that's what I did on my car and it worked perfectly, so we'll try that. Right, so getting straight into it, boys. This one here is self-explanatory, so you've got a bigger plate and a small plate. The bigger plate goes to the part of the side where you step in the car, basically, so that is for as you get in the car. That bit, the bigger bit, will be there. That's for the inside bit where the seatbelt sits. This one's self-explanatory. Basically, you get the rail. Obviously, you want these bits here face, if you can see there, you want these bits here facing obviously to the footwell, because obviously that's going to sit in between, and that's for sliding your seat back into. So you want small bolts. So in the pack it comes with longer bolts, and it comes with these smaller ones. So you're going to put these smaller ones in, or if you haven't got any left, just obviously cut that and cut it to the same size, and it'll work perfect that way. But use the smaller one, because if you put a larger one through, the carpet, it like digs in the carpet, and you won't be able to get this mounted. So one in there. You'll have to slide this forward and get the other bolt in there, so these ones line up perfect. So once you've mounted this to this plate, that's pretty much it. These two holes are where the actual bolts go in for to mount the actual seat plate down. So that's self-explanatory. You'll see that in the camera, it lines up. Yeah, so one in there, one there, and then the two seat mounting bolts. That is that side then. So we're gonna get that all tied up in a minute, and then we'll move on to this one. Right, so we got the entrance side to the car all bolted up. So that's nice and tight now. That's pretty much ready for the next step. So coming on to the side where the central console is. So on the actual mounting plate, if you've got this mounting plate, obviously you might have a different one. There is a lot of variance out there, but you've got two holes here. These are the ones for mounting it to the actual floor of the car, and this one here is the bolt for the front piece, and then the back piece is where you've got a drill. Obviously we were spending hours looking at this because we could not figure out for life or day, because we thought they were meant to be a bolt-in kit, but we eventually decided we had to drill the rail. There was no other way, so that's what we've done, and it seems to work perfect. It might not be the correct way, but there was no other way, so that's what we've done. So yeah, so basically you line this up on this hole here, you bolt that up with a small bolt. This one's a long one, so basically in the pack you'll have smaller bolts. We use them all on the other seat, so we're gonna have to cut these down to a smaller size. So obviously you might be able to buy smaller bolts, but we couldn't find any for the time scale. We need these done today because we've got a cars and coffee event tomorrow. Yeah, so you're going to stick, obviously one of them is going to go down there, you're going to bolt it. It's got to be small again because obviously the carpet, it'll dig in the carpet and you won't be able to mount it properly. So that's the reason you've got to have a small bolt in there. Yeah, so mount that, slide this back, and then obviously when that's mounted on there, so obviously you'll have that bolted up, and then you line this part up. You drill your hole through the metal bit in there. So if you look in there, obviously there's no hole there, so you're gonna have to drill a hole there. Obviously make sure it's tight, straight, so it's lined up, and yeah, you'll be good to go. Just get a hole in there, and then get a small bolt in there, and that'll be this part mounted. So obviously once we've got the hole in that, I'll show you what I mean if you don't understand, but we'll crack on and get this nice and mounted now. So we've got Levi here with these absolutely fossilized goggles. Can't see a thing through them. I used them for grinding yesterday, can't see a thing, but he's gone and cut one of these bolts down. We're going to need two of them, Levi.
Yeah, I know.
So we're going to need to cut two of these bolts.
I'm just seeing if I can thread it without fucking...
You might have to file the end on, maybe.
Ah, do I fucking...
Ah, look at that, he's fucking got it.
Fucking good man, mate. What a good man. Engineering.
Sometimes you got to make your own stuff work, but as long as it works and it's safe, that's all that matters.
Testing out on the
only thing that's not safe is you can't see through them goggles. Right, so we got the frame mounted on here now, so we're just obviously going to drill a hole in here, so we can get the bolt in. So are you doing it or am I doing it?
Safety first.
Just buzz it. Which way? Is that going the right way?
Going
yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, you tighty.
Right, so pretty much, so we've got a hole drilled in here. I said it's one of these bolts, but it's actually not one of these bolts. I remember that. We actually mount this part now to the actual, to the mounting of the car. So that mounts to the car now through there. So they do send you a bolt in the package, which you use for that. So yeah, so it's not one of these bolts. It's the actual mounting bolt. That's why you have to adjust that.
Forgot about that.
So that's pretty much that rail done now. So we're going to move on to the next step, which is getting the seatbelt rails on. And
There's more grinding.
Yeah, more cutting down. So we need to get the seatbelt rails on and the actual like mounts for the seats. So that's the next task. Obviously, there's a bit of drilling and filing involved in that as well. Not for the actual seat mount, but for the rails for the seatbelt mounting. That's because Levi's bought universal ones, and obviously anything universal needs a bit of adjusting. It wasn't too much. It was like a little tiny bit that we had to do on the other seat. So we'll get onto that step now, and we'll show you how to do it and what it looks like when it's mounted on this frame.
Look what I found. I'm a wizard.
He's bought a magic wand.
I'm a wizard.
What is that? Is that a file? Actually, yeah, so he's just going to file this down to make sure there's a perfect hole there. We did have a bit of trouble mounting it up into the car yesterday, so we're thinking maybe where we drilled there's a little lip maybe. So it's just going to make sure it's perfect. Right, so this is now perfect little hole there for the bolt to go through. Right, so now let's bring the other one. Yeah, bring the other one over so we can have a look.
That one goes there.
So we've got the two runners mounted now to the frames basically. So now we need to get these seat belt mountings. Obviously he's got two, one for each side. I know there's not a seat belt on the other side, but it's so the seat belt, the seat is obviously level. Because if you put one side, it's going to be higher on one side. But what we mean is by you got to drill now. We'll show you. You could do it. You could do it without.
They line up there.
You could do it without. Yeah. So these line up on here. That's perfect. So we can bolt this in. Right. So so this is the seat mounting plate, and on the other side you got the actual seat belt mount. That's so you can mount your standard seat belts to it. So basically, the front bit lines up, so that's perfect. There's nothing required there. But this bit, if you look through the hole there, you can just see there's a bit there. That's obviously you can't get a bolt through. That is the bit that you need to either drill or file. It's quite hard to get a drill there because it slips on the hole. So we'll probably we filed it, didn't we?
Nah, I'm going to drill the fuck out of it again.
Alright, so he's going to drill the fuck out of it again. But yeah, so we're going to get that drilled now.
In a bit.
Yeah, he's off again with his granddad glasses. Yeah, so we'll get that drilled now, and then basically you mount this with this on top of this, and then these go on top of your rail, which we will show you once it's done. It might be confusing if you've never seen this type of shit before, but once we've got it mounted on, we'll show you. So yeah, so as you've seen, there's going to be a little bit of filing required. Some people might not have put the original seatbelt mount points on, because you might actually have a roll cage on stuff like that. You might be mounting your harnesses too, which I have done in the Focus. So I didn't need standard seatbelts, but I did get them anyway. It's just for people who can't be arsed putting the harnesses on, because it can be a nightmare sometimes if you're in a rush. But Levi hasn't got harnesses at the moment. He's going to be getting a roll cage, so we'll do a video on that when it comes. And the harnesses, so we'll do a video on installing them when it comes also. But for now he needs a standard seatbelt, so we've got to get these mounts in as well. Right, so now we have one fully mounted rail. This one's ready to receive the seat now. So this is obviously the side by the door, so we don't put the seatbelt on this side, but we have got the mounting points on both sides to keep the seats level. So basically this bit involves a bit of sliding back into the seat to get to the holes. But we got one bolt through there. Can we see on this one? Yeah, so we got one bolt through there, as you can see. It's one of these where we're looking here. So we've used one of these ones. So we've got two of those and two nuts. We've done it this way around because the nut will get stuck. If you look in there, there is you can see the other side of the head, and if the nut's too big to go in there, basically that's why we've got it this way around. So everything's tight now, ready to go. So this rail's ready. Levi is just filing down the other side for the seatbelt mounting point, and then we'll get the other side mounted up and basically show you when it's done. We won't show you doing it because you've seen this rail. It's just exactly the same on the other side now. Just to get that perfectly lined up. Does involve, as I said, a little bit of sliding back into of the mechanism, but it's nothing too complicated to sort out. So we'll get back once we have got the other side mounted up. So both rails are now fully mounted, all tight. Obviously make sure, double check all these bolts are tight, because if you crash, your life fucking depends on it. So make sure they're all tight. We've got both rails ready to go. So now we'll get the seat out, show you what seat Levi's picked. Mount that. This is the adjuster to slide it back into. We'll mount that once the seat's on here. So yeah, we'll get the seat in here now, and then once all that's done, it's time to get the other seat out of the car and get the car seat mounted. And then Levi will be a happy man. He's already happy, and the dog's happy. Big Bruce, here he is. Go Brucey.
Brucey, stop. What is this?
Right, so now it is time to mount these seats. Sorry, Levi. So Levi has chosen the Recaro pole position ABEs. Is that correct?
Aye.
So they are the non-FIA regulated version. He basically says they're wider and more comfortable. So yeah, we're going to go ahead now, mount these to the rails that we've just built, and we'll show you where the bolts go. It's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. Obviously there's 2 bolts each side, and you've got 3 levels of adjustment to how high or low if you want to tilt back a bit. You'll see when we do it, but we already know where we want this set up because of the other seat. We already pulled the seat out, put it back in, pulled the seat out on the passenger side. So now we're going to mount this exactly how that one was, because Levi was happy with that one. And then yeah, be ready to go in the car pretty much. We just got to get the other seat out and the seat belt. They are a lovely looking seat from Recaro. So yeah, you purchased these from Demon Tweaks. We went to Cars and Coffee and went in there, can have a discount, give him a discount, and next thing him and his missus were running out the shop with these straight in the back of the van. That was the day the Focus decided to die. Right, so Levi is buzzing. We've got one fully mounted seat to the rails. This is ready to go in the car. Well, we just got to put this slider mechanism on. Right, so to get this slider adjuster in, basically there's a little pin here that you can see that goes through the hole, and then it clips into this bracket and goes through this like joint thing, same by both sides. It's quite awkward to get in, so you've got to use your strength and fucking squeeze it to death. But that is one seat now ready to go into the M4. Right, so now we need to get outside in the pissing down rain. It's still thundering and it's still pissing down. I need to get the M4 seat out and get this bad boy in. Right, so going over to the car now, absolutely bouncing down. But isn't this an absolute gem of an M4? He's just recently wrapped it in, looks amazing. So right, we're going to get inside the car because I'm getting soaked already. Here's the other seat that we installed yesterday. Lovely. So I'm going to take a seat in this bad boy because I don't want to get in wet. Oh!
Well, Levi gets wet.
No, Levi gets wet. Right, so yeah, we're just undoing the bolts for the seats and I'll show you what bolts they are. Right, so these are the bolts here. They're a little star head. Do you know what size they are, Levi? They are a size T50 star head shaped bolt. There's 4 of them, 2 at the front, 2 at the back. So obviously you got to slide the seat backward and forward. So to get them out, just use the T50 on them bad boys. So you'll be using 3 of them to put back in, and then one of them, well, one comes in the kit for the bit we drilled, because you can't get one of these, the top bit's a bit too big, and they give you an adjusted one for putting it through there. I'll show you when we get to it. But once you've got them 4 bolts undone, you want to hop into the boot, disconnect your battery, because obviously you're going to be disconnecting the airbag sensors and that stuff under the seat. So make sure your battery is disconnected, otherwise you could detonate something. So just for precaution, take your battery off. Boys, when we say we are doing this in a bad weather, I mean it is absolutely bouncing it down out there. Not the best weather for doing car stuff, but we're dedicated and we will get these seats in. We've got one in, we'll just need to get the other one in. So I'll talk a bit about the battery. The battery is in the right hand side, so the driver's side of the car, so you'll need to get that disconnected to do the airbag connection. I would show you where it is, but I ain't getting out the car right now. Right, so the rain's died down a little bit just to show you. So basically the battery is on the right hand side, so just got to remove that cover and the battery is there. Right, so just to show you under here, there's the connector right there. Right, so you need to get it off this little metal bracket here, so you just keep wiggling it and it will come off eventually. So we need to take this off here. It's a bit hard with one hand. Right, so this black lever, you need to obviously push it down and then pull the thing out. So that's off now. So that seat is now ready to come out. As easy as that. Right, so the M4 seat is now out. All we've got to do now is get the seat belt off, the buckle anyway, and get it attached to this seat frame. Then we're ready to go. So it comes off with one bolt. Okay, the bolt. So it comes off with this bolt here, and obviously you got to go underneath because it's wired up. It's wired up underneath, or it's all attached to stuff and all that. So you need to get it out of its holder. So now on this, to get the seatbelt off, you've got the white plug is in this yellow casing, and if you look, I can't really get in there very well. If you look here, so here there's like a little lip, like a pull-in lip, and there's one up there. So you need to push them two out. If you can see on there, you need to push them two out and then slide the white plug out, and that will release it from this yellow connector. And then you can pull all this out. Then there is a cable tie holding the wiring onto there, so you just got to cut that off. And then this clip here is clipped onto the frame here, so you need to slide that off as well. So we're going to go ahead now, get this unplugged, and then slide it all off, ready to put onto the new seat. Right, so now we have the seat belt mounted to the new seat, ready to go in the car now. So that's got little side pockets here, little side pockets there, so that's for the seatbelt to sit in there. So this seat now is ready to go back in the car. 4 bolts to hold it in, obviously the ones that come out, and that one extra. So the one extra is it's this one here. So it's got like the head's not as big, so we can sit inside the rail, which I'll show you inside the car. But 4 bolts now back in, plug that in. I don't know if it actually works, because when these are plugged in, obviously they're in the yellow casing, and then the 2 pieces of the casing are like pulled together by that black clipper pulled off. So I don't know by just sliding it on if that works. Because obviously when you move the seat back and forward, it might pull it. I don't know. It might pull it out. So I don't know if Levi will have to get airbags coded out. We'll try a resistor. If that don't work, it's going to have to be coded out. If that can be done, I'm pretty sure it can. And the seat belts, obviously, once they're plugged in, if it starts beeping at you and all that shit, you're going to have to get it coded out. He'll figure something out though. So let's go now and get this put back in the car, and we'll finish this video up once it's in. Levi, you come through there. Things man's doing for the build.
Nah, I can't fucking see it. I need to push it back.
So that extra bolt you get, basically it's the new mounting bolt for the seat. Obviously it's been machined so it fits in between the rail. So yeah, that's where it sits. And now that's the seat mounted basically. Levi's just tightening everything up, make sure everything's squared away, tight. That is both seats installed into the M4. So now we're going to take it for a test drive, make sure nothing comes loose, make sure everything's tight, and then that'll be a job well done. Alright, so obviously airbag restraint warning lights on. That's because we haven't put the resistors in yet. But we need to find. I've got some somewhere. We're going to find some and then I'll sort them out. The seatbelt lights, none of them have come on. We got them plugged in, so obviously we've wired that into the right place. So yeah, just going to have a test drive now, make sure everything's sweet. You happy with them, Levi?
Fucking right. Gotta be. So here's Higgins after he dirtied my seat by getting in there with fluff on his jumper.
Yeah, I had fluff all up his back and
it looks like we've been in the woods.
Absolutely messed up his seat, but nothing a bit of sellotape will sort out. Is that, Levi? Right, yeah, so we're going to end the video here now. Seats feel good. So the only problem, Levi says, maybe a bit low here.
Fucking very low.
Yeah,
so, booster seat.
So we need
Shout me if you got one.
Yeah, get him a booster seat. So just a couple of spaces. I should sort them out and along the bolts. Yeah, so we're going to end the video there. Hopefully you found it helpful if you are fitting seats into your BMW M car, and we'll end the video. Oh my god, it's so hard to hold this camera while you're going on pen.
Right.
it there, guys. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you bye, Levi.
See you later.
Bye.